Hello, everyone. It's Mark Walmsley here. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. And the best bit of the job for me is chatting to our full members. And I'm delighted that Cyrice Griffith has joined me from the West Coast. I'm in the UK. And Cyrice is one of our full members and wears two hats. And so we wanted to talk about the other hat today. So elsewhere in this profile, where you'll find this interview, you'll find some information about Cyrice's work designing and producing and recycled but stunningly beautiful chess sets. So that's one hat, but we wanted to talk about the other hat today. So Cyrice, thank you so much for joining me again today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for allowing people to see my other side. Really has been my career.
It's my pleasure. And I wanted you to give us a little background on that, because it's interesting. We've spent quite a bit of time discussing how best to communicate the value of your expertise and experience. And the terminology has been something, because we know it sort of orbits around the concept of projects, their conception, their strategy, their planning, and their implementation, but it didn't seem like a big enough word for us. So we've come up with a new phrase, haven't we?
Yes.
Transformative organisational initiatives.
Yes.
So if you have a TOI in your organisation, then Cyrice is the person to help as the kind of safety net alchemist in all that. So tell us a little bit more, Cyrice.
So to kind of put it into a little package. So my experience is as a senior leadership and strategic programs development specialist. And what I do is I provide transformative organizational initiatives at prominent international arts, entertainment, university, and design associations. I specialize in advancing transformative diversity, audience development, and emerging talent initiatives. I've led day-to-day operations for organizations with budgets up to $3 million in annual expenditures. I have proven success fundraising, providing matching fund and launching funds. I'm a champion of equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I would probably, just to give an overview of some of the transformative programs I've developed for the University of Southern California, I was asked to launch the Institute of Diversity for the Music Center of Los Angeles County, which people might, it's much like the Barbican or the Lincoln Center, but it's the major performing arts institution in Los Angeles. I developed the community access program. I developed a K-12 curriculum for the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Foundation. And I developed a new educational nonprofit and launched it for the American Institute of Architects. So those are kind of 4 peeks at what I've done. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry to interrupt you. Those are great examples, because there's a kind of spectrum in the perception of people who think about project management, really, isn't there? And on one hand, you might have an event, a one-off event that doesn't take a huge amount of planning. Then you might have a project of some description, which is perhaps more than just an event. Then you've got programs and initiatives which sit at the other end of that spectrum. And it strikes me that your expertise and experience is best applied in those perhaps longer form, or more business or organization criticalness, if that's a phrase.
Correct.
Creating an institution is not the same as organizing a single 3-hour event by any means. And so there are so many more moving parts that you need to keep together. In terms of the potential pitfalls, because if you're involved with a project and you've shown that in the past work that you've done, it's kind of got an insurance policy built in, because you provide that the alchemy and the creativity at the start of the process where an initiative has to become formed.
Yes.
I'm no expert, you are, but I'm sure there are certain stages along that process where initiatives can trip up. And perhaps you could map those out for us from your expertise.
Yes, I mean, I think the wonderful thing about doing project development at this capacity and that at this level is the trust of leaders of these institutions who often have an idea of what they want, but not really understanding what pitfalls can come along the way. And so I think that there is the strategic process always involves first finding the allies for the initiative and getting them in the room and making sure that people are on the same page. There's something I love to do, and one of the things I love best is outreach to partners, external and internal partners, to ensure that the program develops along the timeline that you want it to use. But a lot of times your pitfalls are going to be in raising funds in a timely manner. Your pitfalls are going to be finding blocks in how the program can develop and kind of navigating around all of those pitfalls. I mean, it really is almost a social psychology approach, really, to developing all of these programs and keeping that mission in mind, and not having scope creep, what I call scope creep.
Oh, I love the phrase scope creep. I hate it, but or the expectation gap as well.
Yes, yes, and that's something that, you know, I also have a background. My undergraduate degree was in psychology and social psychology, and so that kind of like constantly letting people know where you are, how it's going, are we all on the same page, you know, and having that kind of group focus on the finish line.
Yeah. It also reflavors the word sustainability, doesn't it? Because
Yes, it does.
because you, having been through that process and having seen the aftermath, that's an unpleasant word, but you know what I mean, the
Yes.
aftermath of the start of initiative, your expertise and experience brings to that initiative or program an understanding of what happens next, because
Yes.
you know, you don't just launch the ship, you know, you've got to sail it. And it's interesting and sustain the impact of an initiative that has perhaps been funded quite significantly. It's really important. But I know on previous occasions there is a kind of chronology then, and you need to get all the bits in the right place. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out another acronym, because you and I love an acronym, but
Yes, we do.
I'm trying to make it giant. So you've got goals, ideas, allies, something beginning with M and something beginning with T. We'll have to work on that separately, but
Yes.
there's a framework implied by that, and
I really like
you've got to get those things in a line. You know, you've got to, at the start of the process, you've got your values and your goals as an organization. Then
Right.
someone's going to come up with an idea that will need allies, and this would probably be a high scoring word in Scrabble by the time we finished it. But it's the next bit. Then you've got, you know, you go through planning, implementation, resources, and then outcomes, Giantico or something like that.
Well, I also have always been I believe that one of the things that makes programs most successful is the partners that you bring in, because it is you know, the phrase "it takes a village," you know, that impact and that and the reason your organization is going to be on the tongue of other people within your industry is because of the leaders in the industry that have bought into what you are doing. And so having a role for them and a platform for them to help you be an advocate for your organization is really key to its sustainability.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you've also made me realize that, you know, the saying 2 + 2 = 5. With the right partners involved, the combined total amount of enthusiasm and commitment is greater than the sum of its parts. So
it really is. And I think that within so many industries, there's so much siloism and competition. And if we, step back and recognize that we're all greater individuals if we are collaborative in the process, we find that there's so much more success.
Yeah. So much of your work has been in the arts and culture and education and entertainment field.
Yes.
So wherever this appears, there'll be links to you and more information about the work that you do. So if you're watching and you'd like an expert safety net for your next major initiative or program as a cultural institution or an education institution or entertainment business, then Cyrice is your person. Absolutely. So Cyrice, thank you so much for joining me for this quick update. There'll be links to you all over the place wherever this appears. And thanks again for being one of our full members. It's very much appreciated. And thanks for joining me today.
It's an honor. Thank you very much.